Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Daily Briefing. It is Monday, May the 4th. And as you may have heard us discussing, May the 4th be with you, all of you that are Star Wars fans and aficionados. Tim, welcome back from hopefully a relaxing weekend to a Monday and another Daily Briefing.
Thank you very much. It's good to be here. It's good to have you here. You know, there's been a lot of chatter over the weekend in different channels and what have you. And I feel like people are kind of relaxing more, kind of transitioning into a new wave of this coronavirus thing. So as we said, we were kind of teasing beforehand, like, we know you and I are going to transition these daily briefings into something and trying to capture really the need and the spirit of what's coming next. But I personally went outside this weekend. We went to downtown Denver, and there were people on the streets, very social distance, but people on the streets, and then the park. There's a number of people just laying out on the grass in the park, catching the sun. And I'll tell you, just like it refreshes my mind to start making things feel normal. We went to downtown Golden. No stores were open, but people were just wandering around. You see, they want to get out with their kids. So I do feel like the crisis is over. I think there's still a lot of work to be done when it comes to keeping ourselves healthy and a lot of policy that needs to be enacted to keep it going. But I do feel like that initial kind of hit is over. How are you feeling about things? Are you getting out too?
I mean, getting outside has been really nice. And I'm with you. It's like that initial surge, right, that we all saw coming and that curve. Maybe we're past that peak. And now we're starting to wonder, okay, now are we going to see these resurging peaks come, or hopefully this thing will tail out over the next months, maybe the next year. I just don't know. There's so much uncertainty still, but I do know this. Certainly the world just changed and is continuing to change. So there is a new normal that's still emerging, and none of us really know what it means yet, but we're alert, right? We're watching for it, and we're observing, and we're coming together as a community to ask ourselves, what is this new normal, and how do we need to best move and breathe and navigate this new world?
Yeah, it's it's a get our heads out of the sand kind of a moment, I think, where we all get a chance now to kind of look at the world in a different way, understand new concepts possibly. It seems to be tested very much in that this virus has showed a lot of our own weaknesses, what we're weak at within our business, and what we're weak at financially, what we're weakness in maybe policies, procedures, operations. And Joel, this maybe this is a good segue into our conversation today, but it seems like too that my conversations with people over the last few weeks, initial hit, initial crisis, cash crisis, let's get through it. But now I can tell you, the repeated conversation is, hey, Tim, thanks for the cash flow. We got through the weeks. Appreciate that work. Now that I have the PP money, I feel really secure for the next 8 weeks or so. Now I want to get into, and it's, positioning or marketing or reaching out there. And a lot of the stuff we said a few weeks ago where we're saying, it's too soon, don't be tone deaf, that kind of initiative really feels like it's creating a new segue into our conversation today of, what do we do now that we have a new normal? Our weakness has been shown. How do I divorce myself from divorce my company from my old self and make a new self in this new time? So that's the conversation I'm having. How about you? Are those the same thoughts and ideas that you're kind of hearing?
Well, yeah, I'm actually really curious to check in with everyone here, and let's put this question out there. What are your plans, right? Like, what are you doing as you move forward into these weeks and months ahead? Because as Tim was saying, we've had a lot of conversations with owners, and he was sharing a couple stories of calls just today and on Friday. And it does seem like people are starting to move into, okay, I got my cash flow figured out. I see where things are at. Now what? And Tim, as you and I were exploring this, of course, I'm preparing for this big talk I'm doing on Wednesday, right, for the Digital Design Days conference. And we realized, I think this is a time where we have to break up with ourselves. We have to look at where we were before the pandemic and say, okay, something's changing. I have to let go of something. And my basic theory goes like this, that maybe 2 months ago, the economy was humming, everything was hot, and in a way, things were easy. Now, I don't want to take anything away, but let's just say, Tim, you and I talked to a lot of owners who said things like, we're having our best year ever. We're finally getting it. Things are working. Like I did it. I
Yeah.
finally figured this out. And now, of course, you fast forward to today, and I would just simply say this, that it's not going to be easy. And so we have to say, well, whatever was working back then, we could sell services, we could reach out, people needed our help. It was fluid, transactions were happening quickly, there was a lot of money flowing back and forth, and everything is slowed down. So now the question is, we're moving into this season of overall uncertainty, riskiness, and fear. Maybe things are just slowing down. So now what? How do we move out of that? So clearly we have to do some tuning up and say, how are we positioned so that I can reach out as a creative firm and connect with people that want to work with me and that are a good fit for my creative firm.
Yeah, Jed just sent us a little message. That's exactly the sentiment I've been hearing. He says, I got my PPP money on Friday, so now I'm starting to use that breathing room to ramp up sales activity. That's exactly the moment. Like, now that I know that my base is covered, I want to be able to make a future. And I think what you and I are saying is, hey, the person you were, going into January of 2020, and your strength and the economy strengths and the industry strengths might not be the thing that's going to get you into July 2020. You might need to recognize there's something different about yourself. You definitely don't want to go for the middle of the road positioning and proposition statement, do you? You have to be able to make yourself something unique, and maybe even some of your services are not needed currently or need to be leveraged differently in this like new normal, as we're calling it.
Yeah, it's interesting to see a few others chiming in, like Dustin here and Lou, and people are saying, we did get approved, we do have this cushion. And it is kind of cool to see, Tim, this is the purpose of the stimulus, right? Like help people get back to work and focus again on how do we move forward. Here's my overall thought. I want to give everyone, I was thinking about this analogy, Tim. So tell me if you like this. I haven't run this past you yet. But let's say right now you are entering into a season in your life of great uncertainty. Let's say that, God forbid, one of your children was really sick and had to have some sort of a major surgery. If you were approached by someone who thought they could help you with your problems, what if that person reached out to you and said, yeah, anything medical, health related, physical, mental, spiritual, emotional, I'm full service health. I can do it all. I can give you back rubs, or I can do brain surgery on your child that needs brain surgery. Okay, you see the absurdity of that, but I will tell you right now, there are a lot of creative firms that are positioned that way. Well, yeah, we can kind of do it all. We do everything. We're full service, or we do whatever you need, right? It's this very subservient or servile sort of positioning. And I would just encourage everyone, in a time of fear or a time of uncertainty, that's not what's going to resonate with people, and it's not what's going to connect with people. So you have to really think deeper and say, how do I communicate in a way and help people see the trust, my trustworthiness and my expertise all at once? And this is, of course, something I'm just really crazy nuts passionate about, and can't wait to spill some of my beans in the DDD talk I do on Wednesday.
I love that analogy, because it really does feel that way when people are out there trying to have a conversation with a client, and we're trying to discern the need. So we keep ourselves loose. We're not very specific. We're trying to discern the need. And then by the end of it, we actually didn't accomplish much because we haven't positioned ourselves in that client's mind to be acceptable for the services that they need. Again, like I think of that filter that we put in place of the preservation or promotion filter. So when you're talking to someone, they're in the mode of preservation, and I'm trying to secure myself and secure my position, or just do things that have always done. That's not rock the boat. Or promotion, that could be someone that's trying to advance themselves, something to advance a project creatively. They're going to try something different. They're going to try to push out of the safety net. I feel like most of the clients that we're going to talk to right now are going to be very much in the preservation space, actually looking for the new normal. They're going to use the words as if they're in the preservation space, but they must. This is that you have to hear beyond what they're saying. They have to be actually focusing and functioning within the promotion space. They have to be doing new things. So they're going to use words like, I'm going to be really safe. I'm going to cut back budgets. I'm going to do something, it feels like they're pulling back, but that pulling back is new for them. And it's new for them so they can advance their purpose, their position, or their cause out into the marketplace. That's new also. So you're going to have to be smarter strategically than your clients when they're asking you for your services, your capabilities, and your understanding. And you have to learn how to listen through what they're talking about. And they're going to have to know that you are a professional in that field. You're not just, I can do anything, a back row or brain surgery. Just ask me, I can do it. That doesn't give them a lot of security that they can take a risk with you when they need to take a risk.
Yeah, I'm sitting here digesting what Nico just shared with us. And it's interesting to see some of the strategies that are being employed there, which I think is clever, right? There's certainly some diversification and adjusting how you resource. But I would also say this, I would encourage owners here to think in terms of your expertise. I would say if you view it as a skill or a service, that you might be missing out on something, because really all clients care about is, what does that expertise do for me? Like, what result shows up if I engage you to do that thing called 3D animation? Because nobody wakes up in the morning and just says, I really need a 3D animation today. They say things like, I need to sell more of my product. I need to launch a new show, right? I need to inspire my shareholders or my donors, right? So I would encourage people to be thinking in terms of, when you work your magic, what shows up? What is now possible? Because I think that's where you're in a position where you can inspire your clients to dream with you about, wow, I'm so glad I'm talking to you, because you can take me someplace that I otherwise didn't know I could go.
Yeah, and we can talk about some specifics, right? There are words that we've heard more in the last 8 weeks than we've probably ever heard in the last 8 years. Words like Zoom, words like TikTok, these things are really coming out of the woodwork. And these large corporations are going to do something new in the space. They're not going to make up all this ground, have their stocks grow in an economy where other stocks are shrinking, and then not dive into what their position in the field. And something like TikTok, we're going to see them playing themselves out, almost like YouTube did years ago in the presidential elections, where they're using themselves as a platform for conversation. A TikTok can basically be seen as a creative force now, and it can make its way into events or broadcasts or different kind of positioning for the talent that's out there. And we're going to have a whole new surge of deliverables or content. And your clients don't know what that means yet. Like, they're going to look to you to have that understanding. They want to know from you what the best meme is out there, because they're doing their day job and you're the creative person. All of that is a brand new field that we get to take advantage of. But you're going to have to be specific on who you are and what you do. So when you add this new technology to it, you don't just look like you're the meme guy or the TikTok guy or lady, and skip all the kind of high value proposition that's needed.
And I love what you're saying there, Tim. And I think it's funny to see Nico just commented. He said, funny enough, I was just in a meeting about creating content for TikTok. And again, what's interesting is, if you're an expert and you understand that platform, it's not necessarily that you just speak TikTok because it's just the latest thing, but it is a great example of how the cheese isn't going away. As we say, the cheese is moving. Well, guess what? Some of the cheese is moving to a thing called TikTok, but the result that shows up is, I can help you reach those eyeballs, those audience, that demographic. I mean, whatever that thing is that your clients are looking for, if you have that expertise of, we know how to adapt and take advantage and leverage this platform to produce a certain result, that's awesome. I think that's something that if I was running a studio, I would definitely be all over that right now.
Well, I know this is one of those forbidden words, right? But really, if you are a storyteller, then the platform itself is something you can utilize no matter where you're telling that story. I was listening into a webinar from an author, Donald Miller. I don't know if you've read Donald Miller and Joel.
Oh, I love Donald Miller. I'm a huge fan of his fiction work and his nonfiction books.
Me too. Like my early Christian walk, his Blue Like Jazz and books like that were very inspiring. he's a business writer now. And so in his story, he was talking about how, like, when you tell a story, it doesn't matter if it's a fiction story, a biography, if it's a business book or an Instagram post. And he was sharing different people's, 35 words or less Instagram posts that told full stories. And you realize that storytelling really is like a thread that moves people through technology, through ideas of distribution, and we can all relate to it. In a way, I think most of our clients are looking for that conversion of their idea, their brand or their positioning or their concept or even their storyboards. They're still looking for someone to collaborate with them to get that work out there. And they're looking for the creative expertise and understanding of what that would be like. So the TikTok conversion, we'll just go this one right now, is one that the platform has changed and the deliverables are different, but the need is still the same. So going back to the idea of, like, here's a client that is in preservation mode, but they need to take risks to preserve themselves. And it's a weird moment. Like, it feels like they're being risky in order to maintain. That's a unique position they have to be in. And they're looking for us and our strategic ability. Go up the value pyramid. It's not just your services, it's your ability to convert and do something that for that client. That's what they're looking for, and your expertise. Your positioning has to match that. You have to be able to tell the story about your own brand and your own company first if you're going to get that kind of work from clients as well.
Well, you know how we've had this question asked 100 times if it's been asked once over these 3 or 4 weeks that we've been doing the daily briefing, and that is, how do I reach out? Right? It's one thing to reach out to existing clients, but how do I reach out to prospective new clients? And I would say, in an era like we're in right now, you have to reach out in a way that it's very gentle, very soft, and very crisp, very, very brief, right? It's not paragraphs. And it's also not saying, hey, we do animation. Do you need help with anything? That's going to go nowhere. But what I will tell people is, you can reach out and just say, hey, I thought it would be good to connect. Sign your name and send. That could be a LinkedIn, that could be an email, whatever. What's going to happen is this person's going to click on either your profile or they're going to click on the URL and your signature. Then they're going to be presented with your positioning. They're going to say, huh, this is interesting. Or they're going to say, I don't get it. And that's where the conversation either dies and you have to somehow figure out, why did it die? Did you blow your chance? Okay, like my famous DirecTV story that I always tell. Or do they come back and say, hey, I'm glad you reached out. Thanks for connecting. Okay, now you've just cracked open the door and you have something, because the person saw something there that said, I think I can trust this person, and I think this person has an expertise. They're not just selling animation or whatever that service is.
So in our blast, this is the question we asked: how can I build trust in the new normal, right? So in this new economy, how can I build trust? In a way, like the way we asked that question actually has the answer into it. In other words, in your positioning, you must build trust, right? So if you're bland or you're middle of the road or you're too vague, or you tell someone I can do brain surgery or massage therapy, doesn't matter. All of that doesn't build trust in the marketplace. There's got to be,
you know why? Let's call it what it is. The reason that doesn't build trust is it's too opportunistic. Like, anyone who says we're turnkey or full service, I don't want to be rude, but it's not true. Like, people think you're lying, and that doesn't build trust. Yeah. You clearly have to have a point of view and an expertise that you come from, or people will immediately say, I'm not interested. And I get these emails all the time, right? Someone reaching out and saying, we're a full service, whatever, IT company, marketing firm, visual effects house, or whatever. And I just glaze over. So I would just encourage people that initial message that somebody sees when they first hit your site or your profile or whatever, it's got to be something that engenders trust, so that you can then help them understand what your expertise is. And now they're going to be hopefully interested. And if they're not, that's okay. But that's where I would start.
Because that message really is self-serving, right? The person you're talking to is yourself. What you're trying to do is play the field so you don't miss opportunity. And the person you're reaching can see that. You're not speaking to the person you're trying to reach. You're speaking to yourself and saying, pick me. Don't bypass me. I can do whatever you want to. Just call me first, and I'll make you all the promises. That's a fool's game. That's not the person you want to collaborate with. That's not how you chose your wife, right? That's not how you chose your business partner. You want to be very specific with the people you're going into business with. And those people have to have a value that they bring to it. So Joel, let's get, we have the last third of the conversation here. Let's get really practical here. What are some ways, an audit that someone can do, or a wordplay or a study that someone can do to start discovering a position that matches their need or their capability?
Well, I'm going to obviously go through this fairly intensely on Wednesday when I talk at DDD. So I invite everyone to check that out. But I would say this. First of all, I would say look at your current positioning and look for a sneaky little word. And the little word is the letter A. Okay, if your positioning has the word A in it, you might be blowing it. For example, we are a production company, blah, 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 blah. Okay. And I would look for you or encourage you to consider changing that word to the and watch what happens. You will suddenly realize, oh, wow, we have a lot of work to do, because if we were going to assert that we are the production company, blah, 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 that is a tall order. But guess what? It actually is true. You just have to discover it. From there, I would say you sit down, you do a brainstorm, you do a full inventory. What's your purpose? What's your power? What's your personality? And brain dump every single word, and just know that it's usually the 20th or 30th phrase for each of those categories that's got where the really good ideas start to emerge, the things that are really true, that are really remarkable. So those are two tips I would say. Start there.
Yeah, I love that. The conversation I just had before this call actually was a lot about the discovery of language, and not only the discovery of language to explain who you are. And I like the idea of explain who you are with your personality that will already distinguish you from the others. But sometimes the discovery can also be language to explain your method. So how you go about doing something.
Yep, that's your power.
And then that becomes part of your positioning, and it becomes some of your why. If the how you do something or the method that you use to do something, always has 2 chickens and a dog, then you're going to have to explain why you need 2 chickens and a dog to do everything. And that becomes very unique, and the client gets it. Oh, wow, that would always work. In every case, I do need 2 chickens and a dog, right? Like that whole method starts playing itself out. And that's a discovery you can make along the way as well. That allows you to carve out your positioning as well.
I like this comment here that Megan shared with us when she was saying, what do you think about the idea of walking softly and carrying a big stick in this environment? Joel mentioned opportunistic. In this environment, does standing in a place of humility help? And I would say, yes, I might use the word confidence, that, you can be confident without being aggressive or overly assertive. Confidence is always attractive, and it always generates curiosity, because when people sense your confidence, they want to know, well, what's that about? If that sense of desperation, that sense of, hey, do you have anything for us? We can do it all, is the opposite of that is calm and quiet confidence. But, someone like Megan, of course, there's a lot of personality there in you, right? So if you're a director, or if you have a production company, your creative team, and I mean the names of your people, the you as a partner, you as the owner, there's so much personality and point of view that comes from you as human beings. So I would encourage everybody, remember, people don't buy from companies, they buy from people. So take advantage of that personality factor.
Yeah, don't be afraid to be right. It's not a lack of humility to be right. Like when you choose the dentist, you want to choose the right dentist. When you go to the coffee shop, you want the right coffee shop. You don't want Starbucks. I'm just kidding. But you
that was a dig against me.
But you want it, people are looking for that answer from you, because that's not necessarily their expertise, and they want to know they're making the right decision. So being right does not distract or does not pull away from humility.
You're exactly right.
Really, if you're willing to listen and to teach, that's a great place, even to listen and to learn from what your client's position is. Be willing to ask questions and show enough humility and say, I don't quite understand what you're talking about. Can you explain to me exactly what those needs are, so I can meet those needs? is a very, very great place to start. And then know that your method or your purpose or your practice has a fit within that field.
You know how I would, what phrase I would give everyone to explore the point you were just making, Tim, is I think I see a fit here, and I'm curious to see or find out if you see it too. Because once you realize that your firm is a fit, meaning your expertise, your vision, all those three things, that power and purpose and personality, it's just a question of fit. So like you said to Megan, if there's a fit, then you're right. You should work together. Like, we believe the same things. Our expertise is going to generate a tremendous value and result for you. And obviously, personality wise, we're a total fit because you're a dog and cat person and I'm a dog and cat person. Like, why wouldn't we hang out and do business together?
Because I have 2 chickens and a dog. We're all good.
Right. That's right. I got it wrong.
Okay. So we have, we got the practical idea of changing the A to the, right? Because that's going to all of a sudden show you the weakness of your positioning. If you can't follow through with that commitment, you either need to up your game at your company or change your positioning to match where you are the premier company that does this. Give me one more piece of homework people can do right now, because they're going to want to answer this question, Joel. They're now have 8 weeks to take advantage of, and they want to be winning projects on the end of these 8 weeks. That's they're looking at their 12-week cash flow that I gave them, and they know that it's the accounts receivable needs to be in place. Give me one more idea that they can reach out into.
I got a zinger, but this is going to really require people to dig deep. So only if you're ready for this. And that is, I would ask you to write your elevator pitch and rehearse it, because here's what's going to happen. A week or 2 from now, you're going to be on a Zoom and someone's going to say, hey, Megan, hey, Dustin, what do you guys do? Who are you? And you're going to fumble because you're going to have done all the thinking. You're going to have written it out. It's going to be beautiful on your website. It's going to sound great in an email. And then when you say it, you're going to choke. So my encouragement is, write an elevator pitch this way. Write down this simple factual statement. I call this your Wikipedia positioning, right? Like, we're an animation and production company. But then part 2, say, but our clients like to say that we blank. And that's where you can say something that might sound otherwise a bit outlandish or ridiculous, but is true. So it's that 2-part thing. All right. We're a live action production company, but our clients like to tell us that we save them from their most embarrassing moments. What? Okay. So, but you got to rehearse that, like, on camera. You got to get on Zoom with somebody and try it on and feel it, because it has to be natural and it has to come from a place of confidence. Because if you look like you're sort of fudging it and so forth, you're going to have, what happened with me and DirecTV all those years ago is going to happen all over again. The person's going to be like, you don't even know who you are and what you're about. Like, I can't even trust you in this conversation. So why would I trust you with a big budget to solve my problem?
I love that. And there are some of us that are verbal processors. That's the only way we're going to get out of our head and gain that confidence. And you and I know it personally. There are moments where you're about ready to say your positioning statement. You're about ready to step up with what your mission statement is, and you hold back or you stutter through it because you think in this moment it's awkward and I'm not ready to express that. You have to know for certain that's what's going on.
Well, notice, I'll just say this, because I lived this life, right, as an owner. There is a sense of humility that we all have, because we all, as owners of creative firms, we know there are better firms out there. They're bigger, they're faster, they're sexier, they win way more canned gold lions than we do. Okay, so I get it. You tend to want to enter into a conversation from a place of humility, like, well, we're just a team that we really love working with great people, and we just this and we just that. And I want you to just hear yourself and realize that you're marginalizing yourself. And it's like you're taking your light and putting it under a bushel, to use that old parable. Get comfortable with who you are and the awesomeness that you create and the greatness that you have, and let it shine. And don't be embarrassed. Like you said, Tim, it's okay to be right.
Yeah. All right. Jed's asking to hear your DirecTV story, which I think means he really wants to sign up for Jumpstart so he can hear it in the Jumpstart program.
So he can do the basis.
story.
Well, you know what? I'll be sharing the super condensed version on Wednesday at DDD. So Jed, if you show up for the conference, it's free. You can watch it there. But maybe I can share a bit of it tomorrow, Tim.
Sure. It's the top of the hour. I want to be respectful of people's time. Thank you for joining us today. We do have a favor to ask you. If you've been listening to this daily briefing for the last few weeks, Joel and I are working through a process of what comes next. We have a few ideas in mind of how to serve you, because we are the consultancy for creative entrepreneurs out there, and we want to serve you and serve you best. So please feel free to reach out to us on Slack, hit us directly through email, whatever we can do to kind of hear your voice. We'd love to figure out what we can do best with this daily briefing. We do have one little teaser coming up soon of a program that we've been rolling out and thinking about for you, especially off of the topic we're talking today. How are we going to transition into this new normal and take some of our best practices? We're going to kind of Frankenstein them together and play them out so they're not tone deaf to an old environment, but really be specific and strategic for the next 3 to 4 months to get you into the fall and give you some more breathing room in your company. So we'll be rolling that out as soon as Joel gets done with his DDD homework. We'll make sure we get that on his docket of things to do. But I do want to say thank you, because it is our mission to serve you so that you can thrive in business life and career. And we do what we do to serve you and help you thrive in that way. Joel, good luck with DDD. Hopefully you're have some more hours today. I won't bother you anymore. You can get back to finishing your paperwork.
Here, I'll give you a quick peek. Here's my office with all my Post-it notes all over the place. I'm just like, you know, I have about 18 giant Post-it notes all over my office, getting it all sorted out. But I'm looking forward to it. But yeah, I appreciate everyone showing up here today. I hope we gave you the confidence to break up with yourself if that's what you need to do in order to move forward into this new reality.
Yeah, we encourage you to do so. Thank you all, and we'll see you tomorrow.
Bye, everyone.